piano chords. Let's make them sound amazing, like this cup of coffee. Hey, what's up guys, Joe here, and in this video I wanted to show you a technique or like a method that you can use to know exactly what notes to put into those normal, simple, standard chords to really transform them, make them sound magical, make them sound incredible, so you can add some interest to your playing and start sounding like a pro. And as always with this videos, not only am I going to show you the technique or the method, but I'm also going to give you a very specific example so you can get going with it straight away. So what are we waiting for? Let's go! Let's go! On this channel I post simple techniques to get you playing better piano and having way more fun with it. If that sounds good to you, then smash that subscribe button. Now, let's get going. So guys, I've got a fantastic video today for you, all about how we can take our normal standard chords and know exactly what notes to play to really elevate them. But before we get into that, I want to tell you one thing, and that is, I don't want you to be technique-based people, I want you to be principle-based people. And by that, I mean, don't just look at this technique and go, oh, this is a shortcut to playing normal, to play more interesting chords. No, I want you to really understand what I'm showing you, understand the principles behind it, dig a bit deeper so you can internalize it, familiarize yourself with it, and then you can get creative with it. That's what I want for you. I want you to be musicians, not just machines, okay? So with that in mind, here's a really good technique that you can use to take normal chords and know exactly what notes to play to, kind of elevate them and get them sounding better. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you this technique in the key of C because it's the easiest key to really get the idea across, and then you can take it and put it into different keys yourself and explore the technique. So we know what our basic triads are. We've got a C major scale, okay? This video isn't going to be about the very basics of chord theory, but I want to go over them very quickly, just so we're covering that ground. But really, before you attempt these more complex chords, you really ought to be familiar with the normal triads, okay? But just briefly, our C major scale, to work out what chords we get, just do this. We've got C, so we've got note, play a note, miss a note, play a note, miss a note, play a note, okay? And that's our C major chord. 1, 3, and 5. And then we move that up to position 2. And then we move it up to position 3. And then 4. And then 5. And then 6. So we've got a C major chord, a D minor chord, an E minor chord, F chord, G chord, A minor chord. So it's really important you get familiar with those first, okay? Now, onto the technique. What we need to do is play in the right hand a power chord in the key of C. What that means is you're going to play the root note, which in the key of C is a C, note number 1, and you play the 5th note, which is a G. Okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C and G. And all you're going to do is play that power chord over the top of these ordinary triads. And what that'll do is, in certain chords, it'll add in some notes, and that's the point. You need to make note of what those notes are. So I'll play it for you. I'll play each chord for you with this added power chord so you can hear what they sound like. So instantly they sound better. So I'll play that again, but more as a piece of music so you can get the idea, and then we'll dive into those chords step by step and we'll show you exactly what they are. So we could get something which sounds like this. Okay, that's just something really rough that I'm just playing off the top of my head, but you get the idea, okay? We can actually use this and turn it into a piece of music. So let's analyze each one of these chords so we know exactly what notes we're playing. Chord number 1, C major. Now, if you notice, I'm playing an added G and a C, but we've already got a G and a C here, so it doesn't actually change. This is just a normal C major chord, okay? Nice and simple. Second chord, we've got some added notes in here. So we've got a D minor chord with an added G and an added C. So we would call this a D minor 7, because we've got that C in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. And we've also got a G, so we could call this D minor 7 added 4, okay? Because we've got an added 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, like I said before, it's more important that you get used to how those chords feel, how they sound, and you know exactly what notes you're playing rather than what they're called. But it is important that you know what they're called and the theory behind it. But I'm just going to tell you that so that, you know, when you get used to it, you can watch the video again and try and pick those things up. So we've got that second chord, which is a D minor 7 with an added fourth. And then we've got this interesting little beast here. To keep things simple, so that's an E minor chord here, normal E minor, with an added C in it, okay, because the G's already there. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to call this, we've got these, so that's these four notes here, so we could call this, quite simply, just a C major 7, because that uses the same notes as a C major, and we can add this B in here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's how we work that one out. Okay, so that's C major 7. And then we're on to chord 4, which is an F chord, an F major chord. And here, my C's already included, but I've got an added G in. So what's G? It's the second note from the F, so we call this an F with an added second. So F add 2, like that. Next chord is the fifth chord, which is a G major. G's already included, but I've got an extra C in it. So what's that? We've got added 4, so this is just a G major added 4. Or G add 4, okay? And then we move up to the sixth chord, which is an A minor with an added G in it. Because remember, the C's already included. So we can add that G in, and that just makes it a nice and simple A minor 7 chord, okay? So let's have a quick recap on those chords. We've got C major, okay, normal C major chord, D minor 7 with an added fourth in, C major 7, F sus 2, or not F sus 2, F added 2. We're not actually sustaining it, we're just adding it in. And then we've got a G added 4 and an A minor 7. So your job now is to take all those chords, get familiar with them and know exactly what notes you're playing. And now I want to show you how we can use that, how we can use our knowledge of those chords and turn a chord progression that sounds very ordinary, chord sequence that you'll have heard loads of times before in loads of pop songs, and turn it into something which sounds more interesting. So I'm talking about a normal standard 1, 5, 6, 4 sequence here, okay? And we're going to turn that into something which sounds more interesting. So remember, chord 1 is just a normal C major chord. Chord 5, which is that G, if we have a look up here, we've got that added C in it. So where can I add that C in? I'll just put it in here, so we've got this. Okay, so. Okay. Then the next chord, A minor, but if we look up here, what notes do I need? I need an added G in. So here, I'll add that G in here. Immediately sounds nice. It's an A minor 7. And then fourth chord, normal A minor, normal F major chord. But if we look up here again, we've got that G to put in. So I can just keep that in. So from this A minor, I'll keep that G in. Okay? So if I play that for you. Okay? Now, if we want to just expand that a little bit further and use all the chords that we've done, maybe after that, I could go to that, I could put in that second chord, which is the D minor 7 added 4, which is this one. Okay? Because remember, D minor, and then I've got the added G and the C. And then we've got the next chord, which is E minor with that added C in it, which we could, another word for, another chord name for that would be C major 7. And then back to F, back to C. So that's F sus 2, F added 2, back to C. Okay? So if I put that whole sequence together, just to give you an idea of how that can sound. Okay? So that sounds really nice to me, and like I said before, all I've done is I've added those extra notes in, and I've used the technique to know what notes to put into those chords to create that more interesting sound. One little thing to point out is on this C major chord, okay, this is what we call home. And this is interesting because when we add these more complex chords in, you'll notice that C isn't any more complex. And that adds a really nice sense of tension and release, because whenever we go home, that's like a release. It's like, oh, that's familiar, because we're telling the listener what key we're in by being in C and playing these chords. As soon as we go home, oh, that sounds really nice. And because there's no added suspensions or anything, it just emphasizes that feeling of release. So that's just something, a little added bonus for you from a bit of a compositional point of view. Hope that really helps. I hope you've got something out of that. And like I said before, you've got to kind of work on this yourself and understand the underlying principles so that you can really take this beyond just a simple technique and really internalize what we're doing here. So I really hope that's given you some inspiration and some ideas that you can use to take your course to the next level. Now, back to me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. There's absolutely loads in this video for you. You can be going for months on this because, you know, you don't be limited by just these chords in this key. Now that you know this technique, you can apply it to any kind of chord sequence you want and really get playing and experimenting and try and really improve as a pianist. Check out my website, creativepianoacademy.com, for more resources. At the time of this video, it's the best adult practice plan, so it'll give you everything you need to sit at that piano and know exactly what to play. So check that out. Like the video and smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and click that little bell thingy next to it so you get notified when your next piano lesson is available. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you in the next video.